In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the top 5 ways that I believe that boot camps lie to you and scam you out of thousands and thousands of dollars. I've heard of boot camps that charge $8,000 to $12,000 for quality assurance. I've heard of boot camps that charge $20,000 for Linux and cybersecurity and things like that. It is crazy out here. I'll share with you the very first one, the very first way that I think that boot camps scam you and lie to you out of all that money is the skill level that they promise to share to the skill level that they promise you that you will have after you complete their 2 to 3 month boot camp. And to me, honestly, I don't think that is accurate, but we're going to get into it. Let's run the intro and we will jump into the top 5 ways that boot camps lie to you and scam you out of your time and your money. Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations, hosted by yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. In today's video, as I said, we're going to be talking about the top 5 ways that I believe boot camps scam you and lie to you out of thousands and thousands of dollars. Thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Do me a big favor on your way in, subscribe to the channel, and guess what? I have an offer for you, a free offer for you. I have started to upload my sprint reviews that I do with the Tech Barbarians inside of the Tech Coach Ralph Patreon. You can get that free. You just have to become a free member, sign up for it. You can get access to it. You can see how sprint reviews run, how I run it, the way that I run it in the Patreon. In our sprint reviews is the same way that we do it on the job site. So you definitely want to tune into that. Check it out, techcoachralph.dev, and sign up, watch our sprint reviews. I'm going to be uploading them every 2 weeks because that's how long our sprints run. So you can definitely tune into that, right? But let's get into the video. So what are the ways that the boot camps lie to you and scam you out of your money, out of your time? And have you believing that you are going to take off when a lot of times that is not the case? So here you go. We're gonna start off. We're gonna go with what I think is the lowest impact, which is actually the most important impact, but because it affects everything else. But we're gonna go through the list, right? So the very first way, as I mentioned, it is the skill level. I think that boot camps tell you that you are going to get to a skill level that you are going to be able to make so much money in such a little amount of time that you're going to be making the same amount of money that people who went to school for 4 years to learn, especially in these tech boot camps, right? They go to 4 years. Sometimes they even get a master's in it, a PhD in it, and in computer science, in some type of IT field, related field. And then they say, okay, you know what, you take our 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months boot camp, and you will be job ready. You're going to be able to land. Your skills are going to be so great. You're going to be one of the best coders. You're going to be one of the best testers. You're going to be one of the best people in cybersecurity. One of the best people in Linux. And all you have to do is pass these certifications, and they have you studying for these certifications, right? So now you might or might not pass these certifications, and you think that you are good to go. And now you start applying, and you get no interviews, no callbacks, nothing. And you are so discouraged. I think that the skill level that they promise you is not accurate. They honestly, from the people that I've spoken to, that when I start interacting with them, the skill level that they have is the bare minimum. Like I wouldn't be able to hire these people if I was hiring for a job, right? If I had a position open, I would not be able to hire these people because they do not have the necessary skill level. And I've said this before, companies are not looking to babysit and to hold your hand, especially if the jobs that they'll be applying, here's the thing, right? The jobs that people are applying for is that false confidence, because they think that what they learned in the boot camp, that their skill level is way higher than it actually is. And that's unfortunate, because now you're applying for these hundreds of thousands of dollar jobs, jobs that might be offering 150,000, 125,000, when honestly, you don't have the qualifications for it. You don't have the skill level for it. And that's really unfortunate. So While I'm giving you the lies and the scams that they sell you in order to reel you in and have you spend thousands of dollars, finance it at that. And I'll tell you this, right? There will be no student loan forgiveness on boot camps. I'm going to say it right now. There's going to be no student loan forgiveness on boot camps. So now you're going out there, you're financing $8,000 to $12,000, $20,000, $30,000 maybe, hoping that you have the opportunity, you have the chance, and you get absolutely nothing. Very, very unfortunate. So what is the solution? If you took a boot camp and now you're in more debt and you can't find, you're not even getting your resumes looked at, you're not getting any contacts, what is the solution? Well, you need to get your skill level up. But how do you do that? How can I do that? Well, it's going to take some time, but you're going to have to research. You're going to have to think of different ideas, see what's lacking, how can you find out what's lacking if you don't know what you're missing? Well, you're going to have to be interactive. You're going to have to search on YouTube. You search for everything else on YouTube. Search on YouTube, see the different project that people are doing with the thing that you studied. So if you studied for QA, right? Is manual testing going to cut it? Absolutely not. You're going to have to say, okay, what are people doing? What are they doing in automation? I automated something, but how complex is your automation? Maybe you went for software engineering. One of the biggest problems I see in software engineering boot camps is that they don't teach you about testing, about unit testing. You will not get a job as a software engineer if you do not write unit tests. Very, very important. So you need to research to find out what you're missing. You need to be able to practice it. You need to think of ideas. I think one of the most important things you could do to improve your skill level is come up with an idea of your own that's going to help your life. Build something that's going to help you, and then in turn it'll help others. Take on complex projects. As you increase the level of complexity, you're going to have to do more. In order to do more, you're going to have to learn more. And once you learn more, then you actually have something you can mark, you can show. I think that is one of the most important things you could do to increase your skill level. Find something important to you, build it, and then it'll be important to other people. And then you can actually sell yourself based on something that you've built by marketing yourself on LinkedIn, on social media, Facebook. Ask for feedback, ask for code reviews. And through that is going to force your skill level to increase, because you're going to have to write the code properly. You're going to have to test it, because if you put something out there in the public and it crashes and burns, that it looks bad on you. You have a reputation to uphold, so you cannot have your application crashing. Put something out there, take the risk, take the plunge, right? So I think that increasing your skill level is going to be the very, very first thing. The boot camps lie to you. They scam you into believing that you're going to have the necessary skills in order to go land that job, when that is not the case. So you're going to have to do some extra. You're going to have to do some extra credit. You're going to have to increase your skill level, right? So that is the first way that I think that the boot camps lie to you and they scam you out of thousands of dollars, out of your valuable, precious time. All right. Next, what is the next thing? Number 2, I believe that they scam you and they lie to you by telling you that you will be job ready as soon as you finish the boot camp. And even to the point that they say that you will be able to, we're going to help you find a job. We're going to give you some fake internship that's going to give you the appearance that you're ready for a job, which is not the case. Some of the people that I coach, they did boot camps, and they'll be in these quote unquote internships where this company does not really exist. And you're writing some test cases that are very, very meaningless, because everyone who went through that cohort before them, they wrote the same exact test cases. They did the same exact testing. They're not building anything real. And if it is not real, then who the hell cares about it? See, that's my motto. If it's not real, why should I care about it? I don't like to deal with fakeness. It is important that you actually build real skills. You need to know on day one what's going to be expected of you on the job. And if a boot camp is not teaching you that, then it's not adequate. But if they're telling you that you'll be ready to land that job, then that is a lie. A total scam. And they're charging you tens of thousands of dollars to get you at the starting line. Nobody cares who's at the starting line. Out of all the people that I know took a boot camp, which is, I've spoken to thousands of people who took a boot camp. 99% of them that I've spoken to, they are still, and they've been completing with the boot camp for a while now. On their LinkedIn profile, it still says the name of the fake internship that they did while they were in the boot camp. How about that? How you like those apples? It's a total scam. Now, I'm not saying the information that they give you is invalid. What they have you work on is invalid. What I'm saying is what they're selling you on is what the lie is what the scam is. Because they're telling you that you will be job ready. Out of all the people that I've spoken to, I know of 2 people who actually landed a position after taking a boot camp. And guess what? Both of those boot camps were actually local boot camps. They weren't those online boot camps. And guess what? Which is going to touch into the last point, which I'm not even going to tell you that because I'll wait for the end to share that with you. But that is, I think the biggest mistake that they do is they tell you, or the biggest lie is that you're going to be job ready. So as I point out what the issues are, I'm also going to share with you the solutions. How can you get job ready then? What can you do to get job ready if the boot camp is not adequately preparing you to be job ready? Well, you're going to have to actually use the tools that you'd be using on the job. Now, the tools, they might vary from company to company, of course, but what are the most common tools? So you have to research that. You have to find, okay, what tools do software engineers use? What tools do cybersecurity people use? What tools do QA engineers use? What tools do UI UX designers use? Outside of what they showed me on the bootcamp. So let's say you're a UI UX, right? You use Figma. Okay, cool. But what tools, if I'm working as a software engineer, or if I'm working as a UI UX person, designer, right? And I need to land a job in a company, how am I going to integrate with that company? So how do you find it out? Well, I would say you can definitely research a UI UX position and see in the job description what tools they use. We know that they're probably using Figma, they might be using Adobe, things like that. But what about the other tools, right? So working day to day, right? So I'm gonna share some common tools that you would definitely need if you're going into QA, into software engineering, and cybersecurity. The number one comment, like the number one tool that I would say get familiar with is going to be Jira. Then there's going to be GitHub. You're gonna have to get familiar with the agile methodology. I don't think any real bootcamp actually takes you in depth into the agile methodology. They might talk about sprints and stuff like that, but what about stories? What about estimating? Every single person that I've worked with coaching, they've taken some type of course or bootcamp, and when we're talking about estimates for stories and story points, stuff like that, they are totally lost. So I had to go back, which is something I believe it might have been my bad, but when I hear boot camp and stuff like that, they're training you. I was under the expectation that you should know with the agile methodology, how sprints work, how to estimate, how to review a sprint, how to plan a sprint, and they were totally lost. So I had to take them back and say, all right, this is how the agile methodology works. This is how you point. This is about the Fibonacci sequence. How you estimate the level of effort for working on a particular story. So you need to go and work on that, learning those things, learning how Sprint works, learning how GitHub works, learning how code reviews work, learning how Jira works, learning how to write a story, learning how to read a story, learning about acceptance criteria. Those things are what's going to get you for your job readiness. Very, very important that you learn on these things, right? And how do you do that though, right? So in addition to learning about the tools, I would highly recommend if you're done with your bootcamp, or even if you're still in it, right? You really need to build that practical experience, because guess what? The jobs don't care as much about your education as your experience. So how do you build up the practical experience? You're going to have to volunteer. You're going to have to build your own internship. Volunteer to work on open source projects, or you can do this as well. Collaborate with other developers who are building an app to gain that practical experience. Implement the tools that they use on the job so that you can actually build that experience. This is something I did for one of the people that I'm coaching. I found a startup who was building an app, and I plugged the person that I'm coaching into that startup because they had no testing whatsoever. And now I'm able to coach into using the proper methodologies for testing, but they're also able to get the experience of working in an agile environment, testing builds, like using Jira, using AWS Device Farm, things of that nature, setting up meetings, how to properly communicate. So those things are very, very important, and finding ways to plug yourself into working with other developers, working with other QA people, working with cybersecurity people, working with UI UX people, so that you can build that experience. Implementing sprint reviews, like the same way that you would expect to work in an organization, is you need to build that cadence. Even in your own time, structure your life using the agile methodology. Build your 2-week sprints or use a Kanban board. Very, very important things to do in order so that you can be successful and that you can have that job readiness. So now, when you have that on your resume, when you go into these interviews, you can articulate the things that you've done. So, oh yeah, this person actually does have experience, right? So that is how I would recommend you building that job readiness so that you can counter the lies and the scams that these boot camps have sold you into spending thousands and thousands of dollars and wasting valuable time. Right? So the first one, your skill level. The second one, your job readiness. What is the third one? Oh my goodness, this third one, right? I believe that these boot camps lie to you and they scam you into believing how fast you're going to be landing a job. Yes. They tell you that immediately after you are done with the boot camp, you're going to be job ready. You're going to have the necessary skill levels. And because of that, you're going to be landing a job like that. And that is not the case. Like I said, I've seen people after over a year that I communicate with them, they're still doing the same exact thing that they're doing before. No skills, no qualifications to do the job that they're supposed to do. And it's sad to see, but here's a bigger problem, right? They're not doing anything else to better themselves. They will jump from one boot camp to the next boot camp to the next boot camp. It's like, I don't know where they get all this money from. It's like the Little Jimmy skit with in Kanye West's first album, just collecting boot camp certificates. Even for people who have been working for a very, very long time in their particular field, it still takes them time to land a job. So what makes you think by getting this certificate that you're just going to waltz into a job just like that? I think that you are falling for the okie doke. But why does that happen? Why do so many people fall victim to this? I think that people, they like to believe this stuff because it removes a layer of hard work and dedication. Because you could have gone to school for the 4 years or however many years it takes you to go through college. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying college is actually going to land you the job, because there are plenty of people who go to college and they don't have the necessary skills and the qualifications and stuff like that. They're not job ready, things like that. But in particular with the boot camp that I'm highlighting is that they think that you're going to skip the line they sell you on the fact of skipping the line. They're selling to you the pandemic era job market where just because you were able to create a hello world script, that now companies are going to hire you because they had all that excess money that they wasted. But now that pandemic money is out. So what's going to happen? Well, companies are laying off. All the people who got those pandemic jobs, they might be on the chopping block, unfortunately. And they never actually took that opportunity to enhance their skills. So now when everybody's back on the market, it's so much harder for them to actually get that position. So now they're still selling you that, oh, it's going to be so fast, so fast, so fast. Wow, that's not the case. Things are changing. So, like I said, I've seen people who over a year now, they still don't have a position. They're still doing the same exact thing that they're doing before. It's rough out here. It's tough. It is very, very tough. So what about the solutions? What are my recommendations so that you can get a accurate idea on how long it's going to take how long it will take to get a job, and what the ways that you can help to speed up that process. So the first thing, I say that you need to look for people who are actually in the industry that you want to work on. Stop listening to the people who are in the boot camps, who are giving you this, who are selling you this false sense of security, who are giving you these terrible resumes and outlooks and stuff like that, right? Look for people, use LinkedIn to your advantage. Look for people who are working in different companies locally, as well as in other areas for different size companies, and connect with them. Ask them like, hey, how did you get to your position? What are at your company? You don't have that. You're not even asking them to recommend you or anything. Just asking, like, you're doing research. Like, at your company, what are the skills and qualifications that they're looking for for someone to land that position? How long does the hiring process take? You're doing research so that you can, and you're doing it in all types of locations and things like that, all size companies. The next thing I'll say, you need to get some mentorship and coaching, because you're not going to land a job in a week or in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks or in 4 weeks. All right. It's going to take you some time, especially if you have no experience whatsoever. Because of what happened a few years ago, there's not really any more entry level jobs. So like I was saying before, with the job readiness, you need to build that experience up. Okay, so get some mentorship and coaching, or somebody who can guide you, who can instruct you, who can look at your resume, who can help you prepare for interviews, things like that. Next up, you need to join meetups with those established in the field. There's always meetups that are going around, right? Where it can be software developers, it can be QA. You can probably join on some Discords. You can meet up in person. You can, I've heard about so many different events that are happening where they'll do some code reviews for you. You can collaborate, you can share ideas. And that's also a good place to collaborate with other developers on open source projects, or build some type of app that you can gain experience as well. Contribute so you can share your part, but join meetups, meet these people. I'm not the biggest person on networking, but this is an actual valid networking event. I'm not saying you just go to some big conference where there's thousands of people who are in the same position as you, begging to get a job, and you're just listening to 2 to 3 people who aren't in no position to hire you. No, meet up with people who are actually either they're presenting because they're actually established, or they're presenting valuable knowledge where you can ask questions, they can give you some valid answers. Join meetups where people who are actually learning and building together, who are actually doing something who's going to make a difference, who's going to be adding value into the world, so that you can actually build some more experience and build some more knowledge, get some research done. And then lastly, to enhance your speed of landing a job, you want to have a much, much better resume. I've seen the resumes that these boot camps give you, and they are straight trash. They are terrible, terrible, terrible. I can't tell you how bad they are. They show absolutely no value. It's just like 2 to 3 bullet points of a checklist of the expectation. Companies do not care. I've spoken about resumes at length in the Patreon. I show me actually updating my resume, which I think I have to do another update of it as well. I think I'm gonna have to go do another update, and I do it live in the Patreon. But the resumes are so bad that That's why you can't get an interview. Like, it shows absolutely no skills. And the only thing they list on there is that fake internship that you're not adding any value whatsoever. So I think you need a much better resume, and you get a much better resume when you actually increase your job readiness by working on open source projects and collaborating with other developers, by learning the tools that you're going to be using on the job, and by enhancing your skills. That's how your resume is going to get much better. Also, though, in addition to the resume, of getting a better resume, you need to prepare for interviews better, because once they're asking you these questions and you have these things listed on your resume, and then but you start mumbling and bumbling, falling over, looking left, looking right, not sure what to answer, then now you failed the whole interview, and now you're back to square one. So you need to actually prepare for interviews, learning how to navigate interviews, how to answer the right things to answer, what to focus the interview on, how to guide them to say, okay, this is because I always say the number one thing you want to highlight in your resume and in the interview is the value that you bring. What is the value that you bring? And that's what a good interview is going to be. It's not going to be, just random talking about this and that, about, I've done this, I've done that. No, why did you do it? What's the value? And that's what you'd be focusing on. That is how you properly prepare for interviews. The questions that they ask you, you answer the questions, but you always lead it back to why it's important and what value did you bring to it. All right. So that is the speed of landing a job. That is the third way that these boot camps lie to you and they scam you into landing a job. So let's go back through the list again, right? So the first one was the skill level. They give you a false sense of skill level that you're going to get out of it. Then number two, they say that you're going to be ready for a job on day one of graduating, when that is not the case. You do not have the necessary tools, working environment to be job ready. So you need to work on that. And then number three, we just went over the speed of landing a job. So what is number four? What's number four, right? I think, and I've seen this so many times. Number four, the way that these boot camps lie to you and they scam you out of thousands of dollars is the salary expectation that they tell you. Like they sell you on a big lie. Why do I say that? I've seen boot camps that are telling people, if you learn manual testing, you will be making close to $100,000 a year. Is that not possible? Why is that a lot? I don't even believe that if you were working as a manual tester for 10 years, you'd be making $100,000 a year, let alone graduating a boot camp in manual testing to make that much money. I remember somebody that I was talking to, they were transitioning from one career to another career, and they were looking for a job in QA, manual testing, and they got an offer. But they told me that, you know what, this offer is less than the money that I was making in my other career. And trust me, the amount of money they were making in the other career did not make that much. But they tell you that you're going to make so much money, and that is not true. That is not true. You have to think about this. Graduating a boot camp is pretty much you're below entry level. A lot of times even below internship level. You just don't have the skills. You don't have the proper. You don't have the skills for it. You don't have the job readiness for it. You're just not ready. So you're barely at internship level for a real company, and that's why they put you in an internship for a fake company. They put you in a fake internship. They own the internship, but they're telling, you know what, you're so good, you're so good, when honestly you are not good at all. You don't have the skills. You don't know how to work in the environment. But they have to tell you, because guess what? You're paying them thousands and thousands of dollars. And there's a lot of schools that are the same way. When you go in there and those advisors are trying to get you to sign up, oh yeah, I can definitely see that you'll be great as a nurse, or you'll be great as this, or you'll be great as that, and it's like they're going to tell anyone that they're going to be great at it. because guess what? They're getting a commission off of it. So the same way, the bootcamp is going to tell you the same exact thing. Oh yeah, definitely. You're going to make so much money. You're going to make so much money. You're going to have the skills. You're going to be ready for the job on day one, yada, yada, yada. And then you are spending a year. You're doing 4,223 applications in the year's time. And you have nothing, barely any interviews, just rejection letters if you're lucky. It's sad, but it's true. It's sad, but true. So they tell you the salary that you're going to be making. And then now if you even get an offer, because if we go back to the example of manual testing, when I first started this channel, every single stream, we were on the lookout. We put a bolo out for manual testing jobs and we could not find any of them. Couldn't find them. We searched high, we searched low, we looked to the left, we looked to the right. There were no manual testing jobs, but they're telling you you're going to be making $100,000 for these jobs that don't exist. I said, but guess what? If you do automation, you're looking at $120,000 to $150,000 a year, which maybe one day you can get to, but not starting off. So now here's the problem, and I've seen this with my own two eyes. People who haven't tested a day in their life, they haven't written one automation script. They're applying. They're not even out of their bootcamp yet. They're applying to jobs and wondering why they're not getting any feedback for a job that is offering $150,000 a year with asking for 3 to 5 years of experience. And then it's like, oh, what do you think my chances are of getting it? 0. Sorry to tell you, 0. See, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Your resume is trash. You don't know how to interview. You never done an interview prep. You're not ready for the job. You don't know the tools. You haven't worked on any substantial projects. You don't have the skills. But they told you that you'd be ready. Just go and apply and you'd be good to go. And now you're out $12,000. So if you already did a boot camp, then you're out of the money already, and you're thinking, but you're gonna have to actually do some research. And I think the biggest problem is many people don't do their research. They just believe what these people tell them. So what's the research? How do you research salaries, right? It's so easy. Glassdoor has been around for God knows how long. I know it's over 10 years that they've been around, maybe 15 years. You can easily go on Glassdoor, type in a particular role, type in the years of experience, and see what is the actual salary that is the median that most people are making. That's, to me, that's the number one way to see. Like when I had to choose between a role that I was doing versus QA, and I'm like, wow, this role makes a lot less than QA. I'm just gonna stick with QA. But the key thing is you need to do your research. You need to know what are the salary expectations. Now you can see, okay, in 5 years, how much should I be making? In 10 years, how much should I be making? If I get promoted and stuff like that, but that's all about the research. It's not just about believing what this boot camp is telling you. That's totally on you. That is on you, right? That one is, I put it on you, but it's still a lie and a scam that they sell you to get thousands of dollars out of you. Now imagine that, right? Imagine that. Let's say you're in a boot camp with just, let's say that you're in a boot camp with 20 people and they charge you $10,000 for that boot camp, each person. For them, that's an easy $200,000. And they take you through the same cycle that every single cohort goes through. And if they have cohorts that are starting like, every other month, that's over $1 million. And they teach you on different things. So some might teach you QA, some might teach you automation, some might teach you software engineering, some might teach you UI UX. So they have different people to come and teach you. They have the same person giving you the crappy resume, and they're making way over $1 million a year, maybe tens of millions of dollars. And it doesn't cost them anything, but it costs you everything. And now you're going on debt. You're financing this, and you don't have the job readiness. You don't have the skills. You think you're going to land a job tomorrow, and that's not the case. And you think you're going to be making 100, like you think that you're going to be making so much money when no, you're starting at the beginning. You're starting at the bottom. All right. So like I said, you have to research the salary. Use Glassdoor, use LinkedIn to see what is it that's actually happening around there. What is actually the actual salary? And now that you'll be more informed, you can move wisely. You can move wisely. All right. Now we're to the last one. We are to the last one. But let's go through our list real quick, right? So number one, the skill level. They don't properly prepare you to be at the right skill level to land the job. Number two, the job readiness. They don't teach you like how to actually work in an environment, the meeting that you have to go through, how to communicate with people, how to maneuver, the different type of meetings that you're going to be having, the different tools that you're going to be using. They just say, okay, this is what you're going to be, this is what you do, and go from there, right? Then they lie to you, number three, about how fast you'll actually be able to land a job. Number four, they lie to you about the salary that you should be expected to make upon graduating. Number five, what is number five? Number five is that, and to me, this is the biggest lie. And this is the lie that is from pandemic era, is that you will be guaranteed to find remote work. That is a big one right there. Remote work. People are so in love and infatuated with remote work. They say that I am not going back to the office, especially like those who are never actually in the office. It is so hard right now to get remote work. Pretty much if you do not have a stellar, and I repeat, a stellar resume, then remote work is, you're probably not getting it. The level of experience that you need nowadays to get remote work. So if you're relying on remote work and the boot camp, they sold you the lie and the scam that if you go through our boot camp, you're going to get remote work. You are sadly mistaken. Companies are bringing people back to the office. They're not just keeping you. They're not just like, oh, you can work from home. You can work from home. Especially if you're brand new. They want to be able to see the work that you're doing. They want to be able to monitor you to make sure that you're actually doing what you're supposed to do. A lot of companies, they care more about getting the job done. But if you are struggling to get the job done, they're putting you in the position to lose. How would you feel that if they offer you remote work, but you can't keep up with the work, and now they have to let you go? I don't want you to end up on a PIP. What's a PIP? A performance improvement plan. Imagine you just get started, and then not even 90 days into it, you're on a PIP because you said it's remote or nothing. Well, guess what? For those who say remote or nothing, most of them have absolutely nothing, especially when you don't have the skills. I've spoken to people who say, oh, God will manifest a remote position, but you don't have any skills for it. How is God going to manifest that position if you have no skills for it? No. But that's the lie that they sold you. Just go through this boot camp and and you'll be able to get a remote job. It's not the case. If you look online, the remote roles, they have thousands of applicants, while those that are in person or hybrid, they have way less, depending on the city that you live in, right? But they have way less. But that's the lie that they sell you. That, oh, go through this boot camp and you'll get a remote role. They have no control over it. And that's why I never really trusted boot camps who guarantee a job upon graduating, because they're not the ones who are actually hiring you. If they were actually hiring you to work for the boot camp, then that's different. But to guarantee that someone is going to get a job, whether remote or in person, if you go through our program, it's not true because they can't control it. And companies are less likely to hire remote now. They want people who at least will be hybrid. Maybe 3 days on, 2 days off, maybe 4 days on, 1 day off. And once you actually go hybrid, companies they're flexible because they care more about the work being done. But let's get into the solution, right? What is the solution for the remote work, for the lie that you're going to be able to work, that you're going to get a remote job if you go to the boot camp? It's simple. You have to be willing to accept a hybrid role or an on-site role so that you can actually build the experience. As you build that experience, then you will more likely have the opportunity to work remote at some point. But getting started, 99% chance that you're going to be working in the office. And I mentioned this earlier, right? The two people that I actually know who landed a position shortly after their boot camp, they did their boot camps in person, and they found a position working on site every single day. There's no working from home. Now it's up to them to continue to build up their skills. So maybe one day they can actually go to a company where they have the opportunity to at least be hybrid or work remotely. But because they wanted to build their experience, they were willing to accept a job, a role where that it's not a remote role. They have to be there in person. But now they are far ahead of so many other people who said it is remote or die. It is what it is, you know? So that is my top 5 ways that boot camps lie to you and they scam you out of thousands of dollars. Let's go through the list one more time, right? They don't give you the proper skill level. They don't properly prepare you for the job. You're not job ready. They lie to you about the speed of landing a job. They lie to you about the salary that you're going to be making, and they lie to you that you're going to be working remotely. And, so that's how they get you. You might want to rewatch this video, go point by point and see the solutions that I shared with how to combat those lies, especially if you went through a bootcamp already. All right. So let me know what you think. What are your thoughts? Are you a victim of a bootcamp? Am I accurate? Did you go into your bootcamp thinking about these things? Like, did they tell you that you had the right skill level? Did they tell you that you'd be job ready? Did they tell you that you'd land a job really quick? Did they tell you a high salary that you got nowhere close to? Are you still looking for a job? Did they tell you that you'd be able to work remotely? Let me know. Let me know your experience. If you've been through a bootcamp, let me know your experience. I'm really curious to know. Leave me a comment. I'll be sure to respond to you. Right, but that's it. That is our Candid Conversations. Thank you so much for watching. Here's a reminder, like I said at the beginning, inside the Tech Coach Ralph Patreon, you can sign up for free, right? techcoachralph.dev, where you can see the sprint reviews that I take my tech barbarians through. So you can have an idea of how a sprint review works. You can see what we worked on for the past sprint. Setting up for a paid tier, you get access to the full Scrum Night where we go through our sprint review, our sprint retrospective, and our sprint planning for our next sprint. And you also have the opportunity to actually become a tech barbarian, work with us through building our different applications and building that real experience and get one-on-one coaching from me, right? So that's what you can do there. And on your way out, do me a big favor. If you found this video helpful and informative, subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow, spread out the word. I am so anxious to help you and help everyone else out there, right? With that being said, this is Tech Coach Ralph with another episode of Candid Conversations. We are out.